Angela Torres had always dreamed of New York. The noise, the lights, the smell of ambition in every street corner. So when she married Michael Russo, a corporate attorney with a rent-stabilized loft in Manhattan, her dream seemed complete. It was a modest place in Soho, filled with character. Exposed brick walls, squeaky wooden floors, and a kitchen just big enough for two. Michael was everything she'd hoped for. Kind, driven, a little overworked. But love had smoothed his rough edges. And then there was Lucia Russo, his mother. Elegant. Italian. And, from their first meeting, unsettling. Lucia had welcomed Angela with a tight-lipped smile that never reached her eyes. She gifted them a blender on their wedding day, with a passive-aggressive note that read, "For when takeout is no longer romantic." Angela laughed it off. But it didn't stop there. The first time Angela noticed something strange, it was small. A drawer in the kitchen she'd organized perfectly had been rearranged. She blamed herself. Then a vase in the living room, an antique she'd inherited, was turned just slightly off-center. The third time, it was undeniable. A pair of earrings missing, found 2 days later in a bathroom drawer she never used. Angela turned to Michael. "She wouldn't do that," he said. "She hasn't even been here." Angela wasn't so sure. One rainy afternoon, after returning from a client meeting, Angela entered the apartment to find the scent of Lucia's perfume lingering in the air. It was sharp, familiar, overpowering. And the rug, Lucia's least favorite, was gone. Angela's hands trembled as she called Michael. "She was here," she said. "She took the rug." Silence. "I gave her a spare key," Michael admitted, finally. "I thought it might help her feel included." Angela sat on the armrest of the couch, staring at the now bare floor. "Did you think to ask me first?" Michael didn't answer. The next day, Angela changed the locks. Lucia didn't call. She didn't visit. For 2 whole weeks, there was silence. Angela thought, for a moment, that the storm had passed. But she was wrong. The woman who moved into the flat across the hall introduced herself as Elaine Carter. She was friendly, chatty, and oddly familiar. Angela couldn't place it at first. Elaine had a heavy coat, large sunglasses, and always seemed overdressed for the weather. One day, as Angela passed her in the corridor, Elaine smiled and said, "Michael tells me you work from home now." Angela froze. She hadn't mentioned that to anyone. "How do you know Michael?" she asked, narrowing her eyes. Elaine chuckled. "Oh, I must have mixed you up with someone else." Angela didn't buy it. From that moment, Elaine appeared everywhere, at the local coffee shop, in the laundry room, even walking past the window during Angela's video calls. Angela told Michael. "She's probably just lonely," he said. "Be kind." But Angela was certain. Elaine was watching her. Then, one evening, as Angela left the apartment to take the rubbish out, she glanced back and saw Elaine's door slightly ajar. Behind it, in the shadows, was a woman. Not Elaine. It was Lucia, wearing a gray wig and Elaine's oversized coat. Angela dropped the rubbish bag and stepped back. By the time she ran across the hall, the door had slammed shut. Angela became cautious. She started double-checking locks, setting up cameras, and never leaving home without her phone. Michael, meanwhile, dismissed her concerns as paranoia. Then one evening, while Michael was in the shower, a message flashed on his phone. Angela glanced at it. From Lucia. "You need to get her under control before she ruins everything." Angela's heart pounded. She picked up the phone and scrolled. There were dozens of messages. Lucia had been texting Michael every day. Updates, warnings, complaints, and one message stood out above the rest. "Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on her until you grow a backbone." Angela felt her stomach drop. She didn't speak that night. Instead, she printed out the messages, stored the screenshots in the cloud, changed every password she had. The next day, the cameras were gone. Only the mounts remained, neatly unscrewed. When she asked the doorman if anyone had entered the flat, he shrugged. "Just your mother-in-law. She said she was watering your plants." Angela didn't own any plants. Michael suggested dinner at his mother's. A peace offering. Angela hesitated, but curiosity pulled her in. Lucia greeted her with open arms. "Angela, darling," she purred. "I've made your favorite, eggplant parmigiana." Angela hated eggplant. The dining table was set immaculately. Candles. Crystal. Too formal for a weeknight. Lucia poured wine with trembling hands, but her eyes never left Angela's face. "Do you miss your parents?" she asked. Angela stiffened. "They passed away 3 years ago." Lucia nodded slowly. "Such a shame. No one to protect you." Angela swallowed hard. Then, just as the main course was served, the power cut out. Pitch black. A clatter in the kitchen. A whisper. A door creaked. When the lights returned, the table was untouched, but her fork had moved. Only slightly. Angela stood up. "I need to go." Lucia smiled. "Of course, dear. It's been illuminating." 2 weeks passed with no sign of Lucia. No messages. No surprise visits. Angela didn't trust the silence. One night, she woke to a sound. Soft. Metallic. Like a key turning slowly in the front door. She reached for the lamp. It wouldn't turn on. The bulb had been removed. Heart racing, she crept to the hallway. The door was closed, but the bolt was drawn halfway open. She slammed it shut and locked it. When Michael came home later, he found her curled on the couch, holding a torch. "It's her," Angela whispered. "She's testing me." Michael sat down. His face was pale. "She's gone," he said. "Lucia. She's missing." Angela stared at him. "She's what?" "She left a note at her flat. Said she needed space. No one's heard from her in 4 days." Angela didn't know whether to feel relief or dread. Because deep down, she knew Lucia hadn't gone anywhere. Angela started hearing noises. Not the city kind. These were soft, specific. Breathing. Floorboards creaking in the ceiling above them, even though they lived on the top floor. One night, while brushing her teeth, she heard humming. It was coming from behind the bathroom wall. A song Lucia used to hum while folding napkins. Angela pressed her ear to the tile. A whisper. Her name. She jumped back, heart racing. The mirror above the sink shook slightly. She opened the cabinet. Nothing. But taped behind the mirror was a small device. A speaker. She ripped it out and tossed it into the sink. The sound stopped. That night, she didn't sleep. The next morning, her reflection in the mirror had been defaced with red lipstick. One word, smeared across the glass. Intruder. Angela confronted him. Did you know she never left? Michael stayed silent for too long. She said she needed help, he finally said. She said she was scared you'd leave me. Angela couldn't believe it. You let her into our life, our home, our walls. I didn't know she'd go this far, Michael whispered. She wasn't like this before. Angela stared at him. She always was, she said. You just never saw it. Michael looked away. Angela packed a bag. I'm going to stay at Serena's. But when she opened the door, a parcel lay on the mat. No name. No return address. Inside, a single item. Her wedding ring. She hadn't even realized it was missing. Angela returned the next day. Alone. Armed with a locksmith, she had the apartment swept. Every inch. Every wall. In the hallway closet, behind a false panel, they found it. A tiny crawl space. Lined with old blankets. Snack wrappers. Lipsticks. A burner phone. And pictures. Of Angela. Sleeping. Brushing her teeth. Cooking. Lucia had been living inside the flat. Watching them. Recording everything. Angela stood in the doorway. Nausea rising. Then she noticed the final photo. It was her and Michael, asleep in bed. Lucia's reflection was visible in the mirror behind them. She was standing over them. Angela waited until night. Michael had gone to the police. Angela stayed back, determined to end it. She turned every light on, played loud music, made herself visible, and waited. At 3:12 a.m., she heard it. A whisper from the hallway. She stood slowly. I know you're here, she said. Silence. Then footsteps. Soft. Deliberate. Lucia stepped into the light. Pale. Dressed in black. eyes wide, unblinking. "You took him from me," she said. Angela didn't flinch. "He was never yours to keep." Lucia stepped forward, but Angela held her ground. "I've recorded everything," she said. "You'll never come near me again." Lucia's lips trembled. Then from the doorway came voices. "Police." Michael had returned. Lucia didn't move as they took her. She just smiled. Months passed. Angela moved out. The loft sat empty for weeks before it was rented again. But stories began to spread. Lights turning on by themselves. Music playing from nowhere. Whispers in the walls. Angela never returned. She started fresh, far from New York. Yet, some nights, she wakes with the feeling of being watched. No sound. No proof. Just the scent. Familiar. Sharp. And always too close.